Hello and welcome to another Jamblast podcast. Today I'm going to be going over one of my favorite artists, and that is Michael Jackson. Now I'm going to do a music review on his albums when he was adult, starting from Off the Wall. So I'm not going to go back to the previous albums, but I'm going to start with the good one, the real good ones, the ones that he's really known for. And so I'm totally excited. Welcome again. This is going to be a Jam Blast podcast over music of Michael Jackson in review. Hello, my name is James, and I will be your host or your speaker today. And these are all my opinions. A lot of the information that I have, I pull from just the knowledge that I know about this artist, as well as my time spent working in a music store, Sam Goody, Suncoast, and FYE. And so I'm excited today because there's just a lot when it comes to Michael Jackson. Quite a bit, you know. So I don't even know how many podcasts there's going to be. Just like his sister Janet, there's always going to be something to talk about when it comes to Michael Jackson. So let's get right off. Let's start right off with Off the Wall. On Off the Wall, you know, there's definitely many hits. One of my favorites is I Can't Help It, but let me go all the way back. Let me go all the way back to his first song off the album, which is Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. Now, this is, you know, nearing the end of the disco era, but it was still extremely popular. So Michael was going to put his spin on it. And Don't Stop Till You Get Enough is a fantastic song. I love the video. Love the video. It's got that disco vibe. He's doing his dance in the middle of the video. It just is a wonderful, upbeat, very disco-y. Get your roller skates out. Time to go to the disco. Don't stop till you get enough. It's a good jam. It's a good jam to dance to as well. The next song, and I believe Michael Jackson was one of the composers, or one of the writers of that song. The next song on the album is Rock With You. That is another nice melody song, very a nice second follow up to Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. So Rock With You is another disco. However, it's starting to get a little bit more R&B ish with Rock With You. I believe that the music video with him in his sparkling silver outfit, and I'm not quite sure if I don't think he has glove at the time. I think he did have the glove at the time. But, you know, with the laser beam or the laser lights behind him, the music video is awesome. Of course, Michael's giving it to you. He's singing all the notes very well. This is during the time where he could really manipulate his voice. You know, he could do the different, he can go low, he can go high, but his voice was really clear and strong during this album, during Off the Wall. So Rock With You, another upbeat song. I believe with Don't Stop Till You Get Enough and Rock With You, if you're able to hear it on vinyl, that is going to be the best way to hear Off the Wall completely. The whole album, Off the Wall, I recommend vinyl if you can. Anything that has that in-depth of music, in-depth of tunes, so you can hear those acoustics, especially. It's going to bring you to that place, where, you feel that disco beat. The next song on the album is Working Day and Night. It is another acoustic number, a little bit faster. And I believe it was one of his brothers and Janet that helped him with a lot of the acoustics in this song. It was another song that I believe Michael composed or wrote. And it's really interesting if you ever get a chance to hear the maybe the bonus track or whatever it is for Working Day and Night, you can kind of hear how the track was laid and how he expected it to sound. And so Michael was starting to develop his perfectionist in the craft, in the art of music, if he hadn't already developed it already, because he had been in the business for quite some time since he was a child. So now he's really starting to reflect on what he wants to do. He's managing his music and artistry, and so this is a reflection of that. Man, when it comes to the music, Michael thinks of it. Michael thinks of the tune, the pitch, everything when it comes to the music, not only his lyrics, which is amazing that a person that you can that thinks of not just the lyrics but the whole song as a whole, how it's going to sound, how it's going to feel, the bass, the tempo, all of that. That's just amazing that Michael had all of this in his mind. He was very creative, very creative. And so if you ever get to see or listen to Working Day and Night, again, it's good jam to listen to on vinyl. The next song on the album is Get on the Floor. It's another disco album, or it's another disco song. Very, very disco. The only thing I could see whenever I listen to it is the disco floor, people in bell bottoms and and just doing it, whether it be afro or long hair, just having a good time, or short curly hair, or however, just that real 70s type feel, say late 70s, early 80s disco feel. It reminds me of a lot of the disco greats, including Donna Summer. That's what this reminds me of, and Michael does a very good job with Get on the Floor. He sings the song very well. It's very clear. He's very strong in it. He sings the harmony and melody in the song. He does his own background vocals, and so Get on the Floor is a very good, nice follow up to right after Working Day and Night, and it's got a very strong disco, very strong disco. The next song on the album, is Off the Wall, and Off the Wall is, when you first hear it, it's kind of, to me, it always sounded like it was Halloweenish, how it kind of starts off, but it's nowhere near that. It's again another disco track, but it's more pop. It's a little bit more R&B to me, rather than just disco. But it's another boogie song. It's another time to get out your skates again, time to get up on the dance floor. Got a nice beat to it. Most of the songs on this album, I believe, got a more of an upbeat, up tempo. He's really singing out. He's really belting out the notes in this song. He just wants everybody to enjoy themselves and groove. And that's what makes the song. It's a very, very positive, very upbeat song. I do not believe that there is a music video to this song, but it is a single. It's if you get a chance to listen to it again, the best way to do it is listen to it on vinyl, or if you got really good headphones or something with that that you can hear the acoustics, then that is highly recommended to hear this song. The next song on Off the Wall is Girlfriend. And I believe this song was written by Paul McCartney, if I'm not mistaken. And it was written for Michael Jackson, if I'm not mistaken. So it wasn't just written for Paul McCartney. He actually wrote it with the intentions of Michael Jackson singing it and singing this song. And he did. He obliged him, And to me, I love the song. It's really, again, it's a slower but more upbeat song. It's got the real 80s vibe, the early 80s vibe when it comes to the type of acoustics that are used in it. I'm not quite sure if it's an electric piano or a specific type of instrument that's used throughout it, but it's very prevalent, along with him singing the lyrics of the song. And he also is hitting a little bit more higher notes during this song. It's more consistent, but his voice sounds clear. It sounds consistent and strong throughout it. And it's a good story song. Like it's a cute song on the album. It's a nice change of pace, starting of a change of pace with the album, with the music on the album, and so it's a great addition to Off the Wall. And after Girlfriend, the next song is She's Out of My Life. Now, I believe this song was written for Michael, so it was one of those songs that Michael didn't write. He may have had some play in it. I'm not quite sure, but he did sing this song lovely. It's a nice, slow ballad song on the album. It changes up the tone. It changes up the pace. It's talking about a breakup that basically he didn't want, you know, because he's saying it cuts like a knife. She's out of my life, you know. It's not just for the rhymes. It's even though the song is almost like a poem. It's beautifully sung by Michael, and I believe he does an excellent job. He does an excellent job with, what is it called, vibrato, or his the way he goes up and down in the notes, and how he can control his voice and the strength of it in the song, and this lovely ballad. It's one of my favorites on this album. And also, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, because what I've heard from the documentary parts of this album is that Rod Temperton, like every time he was in the studio with Michael and Michael would sing the song to record it, he would cry at the end. So we are actually hearing at the very end, you could start hearing how his voice is cracking a little bit, and how even though it's still beautiful, it's still lovely, it doesn't take away from the song at all. It adds to it. It adds that depth of emotion, and he starts crying at the end of it, and I think that that's lovely. You know, it just shows how he felt about singing the song. I'm not quite sure what emotions were brought up, you know, when he was singing the song, but it's one of those things that he's very passionate about singing. He's very passionate about his music. And so he's also a passionate person. You know, he really did care for others. And so I think that that was all coming out in this song. Besides, it could have been more, you know, it could have been his own love life. Maybe he did have a love interest or something at the time. I'm not sure, but you could really feel his emotions and his passion in this song. And it's just a beautiful song that is placed near the end of the album. And so right after She's Out of My Life is the next single, I Can't Help It. And again, there's no music video for this, but I believe it was released as a single. I Can't Help It. I like it because it's not it may be considered a disco jam, but to me, it's, again, beginnings of that R&B, a little bit of blues too in it. It's got a little bit more bass tone in it. And Michael really explores the depth of his voice from the bottom to the top, and he sings those notes and carries those runs fantastically throughout this song. The best way to hear this song is on vinyl, so you can really hear the acoustics and Michael's voice with the song, because Michael really does. It's almost like he overpowers the music in this, but it's because it's necessary. It's because he's pushing the lyrics. He's pushing his feeling. He's pushing his passion in this song. And so I Can't Help It is again, it's almost like part two. Once you start to get into girlfriend, it starts changing over to a different type of emotion. Then with she's out of my life, and now I can't help it. So I can't help it's a very good. It's very well placed in Off the Wall, on the album Off the Wall. And so the next song after is It's the Falling in Love. I forgot to say at the beginning that the order that I'm taking is from just the CD version. And so if you have the album, the original vinyl, or if you have a cassette, it may be in a different order. And so, but the version that I'm reading or looking or from memory is from the CD version, and numbered order. So I believe some of these where I'm at now was be on like side B, but I'm not quite sure exactly. But It's the Falling in Love is the next song. It's a little bit more upbeat. It's a more positive. It's talking about love. He also has a co-singer in this, a female lead singer who also sings throughout the album, and these his voice goes very well with the female singer. They coalesce. They ride the notes throughout the song very well, and it's not like you're hearing voices that don't belong together. What you're hearing is melody. You're hearing the melody and harmony at the same time, and it jives very well. It's a very beautiful song. It's a nice ballad, and it's great place that it's placed. It's a great place that this track has been placed at, because you have kind of like the disco vibe, and now you have a little of the pop, a little of the R&B now on the second half, on the second portion. Maybe consider a little bit disco, but to me it's more of the startings of R&B and pop as we know it. And so the next and final song on the album, I believe, is Burn This Disco Out. It is a reminder that this is a lean towards disco album. This is Michael's first album. And once again, it's going to sit you right back into that disco. It's more of like a disco club song. It's very upbeat. It's got the disco melody going throughout it. Michael's voice is very strong. He's hitting his middle registry in the song predominantly throughout the song. So he's not having to work for a whole lot of notes. He does have a few higher notes, but he's utilizing his middle registry voice to hit those so they sound stronger. Like he's singing more from his chest. You can tell. And again, the best way to hear this song is going to be on vinyl, or something with that bass, that acoustic sound, that strong acoustic sound. So the song Burn This Disco Out is a very nice way to end his Off the Wall album, one of his main hits. And so if you get a chance to listen to the album, I recommend hearing it on vinyl. And so now that we've done Off the Wall, let's move right into the next album. And that probably is one of the most known, one of the most favorite albums out of Michael Jackson's repertoire of music. And that is Michael Jackson Thriller. Now, again, the listing that I'm going to go over is the CD version. So if you do have a different version, track order may be different, because I do, and then, I do know about A side, B side, etc., whether it be a cassette or a vinyl. And so, with that, this is one of his most reputable albums. I believe he won 8 Grammys for this. And if I'm not mistaken, Thriller is in the National Records Museum. Like, it's the song that has been recorded to be stored for all time, all knowing, all knowledgeable time. It's one of those that has been nationally recognized as well as worldwide recognized as one of the greatest songs that has ever been made. And so people all over the world do the Thriller dance. So let's get started again with his first single on it is Wanna Be Starting Something. Very, very well known. He even has a little bit of actual African speech in it. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not quite sure if it's Swahili or some other specific one. I can't remember exactly during the Quincy Jones interview or Rod Temperton interview, what one of them said what it was, like what African language it was, and so please do leave a comment. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the feel, it just is. It's great. It's very upbeat. The beats are a lot faster than, and it's he's got a lot. It's very lyrical, and Michael Jackson does an awesome job with singing this. It's very catching too. It's one of those catchy tunes. It's one of those songs that you just can't help but get up and start dancing to. And especially what is the lyric? Mama say, mama sa, mama kusa. That's where that comes from. In a lot of movies in the 80s, especially, use that. You hear that. I hear that a lot, including calling somebody a vegetable. You're a vegetable. There's quite a bit in the song "Wanna Be Starting Something" that is very catchy, it caught on popularity wise, was used all over, in a lot of his songs, in a lot of movies, as well as things, comedy and such. So it's very well known. So if you hear Thriller, Thriller, I want to say overall is going to be better in hearing it over vinyl or something that has strong acoustics. However, to me, the album Thriller, I don't know. I go back and forth. Sometimes I say, yes, you need to hear it in vinyl only. But sometimes I'm like, well, you can hear it as long as you have something that has that depth of sound, that gives you the bass and acoustics really well. So if you have something that gives you that, you should be okay for this album. And so the next song is Baby Be Mine. And it's a nice, I want to say pop ballad. It's up-tempo, upbeat, positive. Michael has a lot of higher notes in this song. And he doesn't struggle, because during this time, I think that he is able to hit those higher notes strongly and without having to go into his nasal voice. So he's still able to use his diaphragm in order to project the notes. But it does have a lot more higher notes in it throughout it. And it stays consistently high throughout the song. So there's not a whole lot of actually mid-range to low notes that he is having to deal with. He does a really good job throughout the song. It's one of those jams that you definitely want to bring to the barbecue. if you're having it's one of those jams that you would definitely put into the rotation. So a great song, a great second song on the album. Now the next song is interesting because it yet again is another song that Paul McCartney was in, and that is The Girl Is Mine. There is a music video for this song, and I believe it's like a whole, I want to say it's different cuts of a lot of people in it, like a lot of celebrities in it, if I'm not mistaken. If I am, please correct me in the comments below. You know, but I do remember Paul McCartney's in it as well. And it's just different scenes. And then near the end of it, it starts showing the argument that Michael and Paul have over the girl. You know, the girl is mine. You know, they're each singing a verse and taking turns. Both of their voices sound amazing in this single. So Michael and Paul McCartney did an excellent job. Michael's voice really does a he's able to hit all the notes. He's able to strongly, and he has in depth of sound, and I believe in this song, in depth of sound and feel emotionally. So if you do get a chance to listen to this song, I think you will be okay without vinyl. But if you do get, if you do have vinyl, listen to it that way. If not, if you have a really good acoustic headphone set or a sound system, I think you'll be just fine with listening to it that way. Now, the next song on the album, as mentioned before, is known worldwide. It was so critically acclaimed that it has been put in the National Archives to be stored for all time. And I believe it has, get this, I believe it's been sent to space. I believe it's on like Voyager 1 or 2 or something. I think it's on the one that has left our solar system. Like, it's a recording that's on one of our satellites that is sent to explore space. It's meant to provide sound. It's meant to provide information. But it's really interesting, that to know that Michael Jackson's Thriller is out in space. I think that's weird, but at the same time, I think it's awesome. I wonder what he thought of it. Because I know he was alive when they did it. So I wonder what his feelings and thoughts were about, on it. I wonder if there's like a recording or an interview with that question being asked, like, how do you feel about your music being sent out in space? I would love to be able to interview him, but unfortunately he's not with us anymore, but that's okay. We have his artistry, we have his music to be able to listen to. So the next song is Thriller. There is so much about this song, so I'm just going to go over it in short details as and I will, of course, Thriller, you could have an hours long podcast. You could have a lot of information just off of Thriller, because there's so much when it comes to the short film with the music video, as well as his singing in it, as well as Vincent Price. Vincent Price, a well-known actor in person that had been acting for decades prior to this, was in Thriller, did spoken word, and actually had 2 verses, even though they used one of the verses, had 2 verses that he spoken word that he was added, only the 1 verse was added to the Thriller track. And so if you ever get a chance to hear Thriller, you can technically hear it anyway. Vinyl's going to be the best, followed by something with a lot of acoustic sound, and that bass, definitely the bass in this one. The music video, who in the dance, who can forget that? The music video was groundbreaking. It was another moment in history. He had a concept. He had the music, the lyrics, and a visual concept to share with everybody. The morphing had not been really done in any type of video, which we'll get to see more of them morphing and how it changed later thanks to Michael, but how they used um, uh, ideas from puppetry and like the Muppets and such, and how they would show how they would use airbags under his the fake skin, of the wolf mask, and how it would start expanding and deflating, and everything that just went into that, the makeup, the hair. Then you had the concept of like the 1950s, 1960s high school moment. He's taking his girlfriend out to the movies, and then they are going to see, of course, a thriller, a scary movie, because that'll scare the girl into Michael's arms. So it's a easy way into affection. So they go see the movie. Of course, that happens. The scary part happens. In the movie of the short film, there's I believe Michael's the person that's becoming the monster then too. And so she screams and goes into his arms, and then or no, it wasn't. It was something else. I think it wasn't Michael. But anyways, it's kind of interesting to see a movie within a short film. So then she gets scared, and he's like, you want me to take you home? She's like, yeah, let's get out of here. And that's when the fun starts with it. You're no longer in the 1950s or whatever. You're in the modern day 80s at the time, and she's walking to the beat. Just think about that. Like, if you didn't even notice before, and you take a look at the music video, look at how she's walking. She's walking to the beat. And it didn't dawn on me until years later that I was just like, wait a minute, she's walking to the beat too. It's all the details. It's all those details. Whether it be the fog, whether it be the scenery, the night, the reflections from the street, the hair and makeup, how people are moving. So all that was included, and that takes time and effort. And so, all that concept came from Michael Jackson himself. That's just a lot. That's crazy, insane, a lot, and over the top, and it's awesome, and it's perfect, and it's correct. And so, he's walking along, then he, starts turning into, he's got his known jacket that was made popular, and he turned the red jacket that everybody had to have. No, I did not have this jacket. but I saw it on a lot of people. Everybody had to have the red jacket, the red leather jacket. And so he turns into the monster, and he starts doing the dance. And the dance, man, everybody. It was before the Macarena. It was one of those dances that everybody wanted to learn. And then he performed it. He performed it, live at his concerts. He's performed it, I believe, at an award show. And every single time it gets to that part, everybody just stops. It's one of those groundbreaking stop moments. Like, I'm about to watch something that's amazing, like the dance moves and everything. And so he has all the monster dancers, after they crawled up out of the cemeteries and such. They do this line dance and in symmetry. And it was amazing. It's awesome to see. It brings a smile to your face because you're like, wow. And so then after that, he takes the girl back, and then he turns to the camera at the end, and he gives that smile with his eyes yellow, and Vincent Price laughing in the background. It just gives you that Halloween feel. And I know every single Halloween since I've been alive, Thriller is one of the number one rotated songs on anything, whether it be online or radio. Even in theme parks, they utilize that. I mean, you see you see TikToks of it today. You see Instagrams of it today. You see Facebooks and YouTubes of the dance today. So it was not only um, award winner and influential, but it's been influential for decades now. It's been, it's something that has made history. And I've noticed that I've been talking just about Thriller for a very long time. And I could continue. There's so much to get into with Thriller, but I'm going to go ahead and move on out of frustration. Out of frustration, I'm going to go ahead and move on. The next song is another single that was released, and that is Beat It. And that is a song that came after Thriller. He had a music video to it that he was in I want to say, like alleyway and street. Like he was going, there was like a couple of gangs. It was like a couple of gangs that were getting ready to fight. And what's amazing is instead of fighting, they had this choreographed dance that had, like fighting moves in it, but it was dance. And so that was what was amazing. Michael Jackson, once again, he had another short film with this, and it really provided the visual behind the song. And it's a very popular song. It's very heavy guitar based. It allowed Michael to really project with his voice, in his mid frame and in the upper range of his voice. Very popular song, very pop song, pop rock song, with some bass in it. I just want to know his thought process on this one. What he was thinking, what he was thinking, how he came up with the music. The lyrics I can understand once you listen to them, once you read them, once you hear them, but the music to it, my goodness, like amazing, right on point. So you're thinking of lyrics and then you think of the music too, or vice versa. Just amazing. If you get a chance to hear this, any way to hear it is best, but of course, it's fine. But vinyl, if you can hear it on vinyl, that's great too. The next song on the album is one of those, what do you call it, legendary songs. Another one that he definitely won the Grammy for. He had a music video, another groundbreaking music video to it. This is the song and video that everybody wanted to replicate the dance, not only the moonwalk, the legendary moonwalk. Can you believe it? The moonwalk. Michael Jackson doing the moonwalk in his glove, in a sparkly silver glove. But he also did the tip, the dance where he stopped on the tips of his toes. And that's extremely difficult. Even if you are a professional dancer, even if you're a professional ballet dancer, to perform that move where he stopped on the tip of his toes, both feet, that's amazing. And he really got to show that he was a dancer. He was a performer. Not only could he perform and dance, but he could sing at the same time. And the song Billie Jean, it's got a lot of synthesizer in it. So vinyl, if you hear it on vinyl, I'm not sure if vinyl can really push out electronica music or electronic music. So if you have something that has really good in-depth of sound and acoustics with that bass, this has a bass throughout the song, that's you can only hear if you have something that provides you that boombox effect, that bass effect. So first things first, get something with that has that um, uh, bass projector, and something that can give you that electronica sound very well. Um, the song's upbeat tempo. Um, it is an accusation. He's talking about an accusation that, somebody came and said, "Hey, this is your child," and he's debating on. I believe he's debating on whether or not the child is his. And so, um, the story that he's telling it's very interesting. It's got a lot of emotion. So if you miss the lyrics and miss that, because of how the song is, how he sings it, and then how the music is, it's it's to me it's like two different worlds wrapped into one. Because it can be kind of upsetting. And he's saying that no, the kid's not my son. But at the same time, like if you're hearing the lyrics, you're like, man, that's rough, that's a rough thing to go through. But you're too busy dancing hard because it just provides you with the beat, man. It provides you with the beat. And then back to the music video. The music video, he also does a little bit of moonwalking in that. When he's stepping on the sidewalk, that's another thing. So this was back in the 80s where, the movie Big had been popular because of the piano. And now you have people trying to walk on regular sidewalk, and hoping that it lights up underneath them. I remember I did it. A lot of people did. Like, this is the time where Michael was very influential throughout people's lives. And he didn't even know it. I bet he didn't even know it. Just the concept of the music video and things that were done in the music video, and how at the end he disappears, and the breaking of the screens where he would do a pose and it would break up, and that he was walking down a sidewalk and the sidewalk will light up with every step that he took. That's amazing. It gives you the visual, it gives you the emotional to a fantastic song. And so if you get to hear Billie Jean, hear it the best way you can, because it's a fantastic song. You'll play it over and over again. The next song is one of my favorites to this day, of Michael Jackson of all time. I want to say it is my favorite. It's either my favorite or within the top 3. And that is Human Nature. And another Grammy Award winning song on this album. I don't believe there was ever a music video, which is to my amazement. I believe there was not a specific music video. I think the music video that came out was like a collage of his concerts, of him around the globe. But it wasn't taken like a short movie, like a short film, like some of his others, like Thriller, like Beat It, even other music videos that he had. So it wasn't really like on the previous album, like Don't Stop Till You Get Enough and Rock With You. So I don't understand why Human Nature wasn't developed more into like a short film or something, because I think it would have done it already was one of those like number one around the world and everything. I think it would have pushed it even further, as if anything could push Michael Jackson any further. So Human Nature is a beautiful ballad. It allows for Michael to explore his voice range. And it shows the strength, it shows the depth and the heights of his voice range. And he hits the notes beautifully. He has some runs in it. And his voice hits each note and flows into each note beautifully. There's no separation. So it just is a magical, beautiful song that you would want to have on repeat. If you can hear this song again, I think vinyl actually would be the best way to hear this song, but any way that you can hear it with the acoustics and in-depthness, because his voice does really ride over the beat and over the music, and flows with the music because he has the harmony and melody. He does his own background vocals in this, and it's another beautiful song that he has on the album, and it's very well placed. It's placed closer to the end, but it's a beautiful song that he has on the album. Definitely recommend. Definitely within my either my number one or within my top three. And so on the next song on the Thriller album is PYT, Pretty Young Thing. It's a lot faster tempo than Human Nature, so we went from a ballad to now a pop song, with just a touch of R&B in it. Again, more of the 80s electric piano sound or other acoustics in it. This song did not have a music video with it, if I'm not mistaken. Please correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. Very pop song. Michael sings it, I want to say, in his higher mid-range. He really belts out the notes. He gets into a little bit of the grunginess too, that he'll use more often in later albums with his voice. But it's a very nice song, very good song to hear any way you can. I don't think vinyl would make a huge difference in it, because again, the electric instrument sounds that are throughout it, like synthesizers and such. But if you have something that gives you that bass, it does have a bass through parts of it. So my recommendation is the best way you can listen to the song. Now, PYT is followed by another ballad, a slow ballad, and that is The Lady in My Life. It's a beautiful ballad. And Michael, he starts off the song, a lot slower and quieter, but so he's not having to project as hard, but that allows him to really make the notes beautiful. And he sings the whole ballad beautifully. Again, this is his mid to upper mid-range of notes, and he's able to sing them strong. I think that this song is placed wonderfully on the album. It's at the end or near the end. I believe it's at the end, technically. But it's just a beautiful song. It's a beautiful love song, that he's speaking about his love interest being the lady in his life, and that he promises tonight that she will always be the lady in his life. It's got a lot of lyrics in there that I'm pretty sure were used back in the day, to sweet talk someone. This has a lot of that 80s electric sound as well, synthesizer and electric piano, to go along with the ballad. So if you do listen to this, I've heard it on vinyl. It sounds okay on vinyl. It does sound good. But I don't think there's a specific way to hear this. If you disagree, leave comment, of course, but I think you can hear this as long as you have something with very good acoustics again, including bass. but I don't think it has much bass in this song as some of the other songs. I think it's more of a melody type song, pop melody type song, a ballad. So, but Lady in My Life, that wraps up the songs on the album that were chosen to be on the album. Now, there is a bonus track that was added later to the album. I want to say years later, because it was done around the same time as Thriller, and it was for the movie E.T. And I'm not quite sure if it made the E.T. soundtrack. I think it did, but I never picked up the soundtrack or never cared to research it because I was not a E.T. like E.T. movie's good, but I wasn't like Michael Jackson. There's a difference. So I was just like, okay, so but Somewhere in the Dark was made for E.T. and it even has at the end E.T.'s voice in it. It's another slow ballad. It's got the 80s type, late 80s type spatial noises, electronic sounds in it throughout the song, and he does a wonderful job. Wonderful job. He doesn't have to He doesn't have to project his voice. He can just sing this song and sing it strongly with his diaphragm, and so he's able to hit low to medium to high notes without having to really search for those or really having to struggle for them. So he has strong control over his voice, and each of the notes are very strong when you hear them. It's a lovely, beautiful song. If you can hear this song, Somewhere in the Dark, or if you can hear it online or however you can hear it, I don't have a specific recommendation for it because, again, the synthesizers and such, I'm not quite sure if they come out very strong on vinyl. So the best way you can, anything that has a very good acoustics to it. It was a nice song. I'm surprised it didn't get selected for the album. I believe it was an alternative, just like the next song that I'm going to talk about. But it's a nice song. If you can ever hear it, and take that chance, go ahead and listen to it. The next song on that was not on Thriller, but it was added at a later time as a bonus track, was Carousel. And Carousel, I believe, was going to take place of Human Nature because at the time, I can't remember if it was Rod Temperton or Quincy Jones that wanted only one major ballad on the album. And I believe that, now correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it was between Human Nature and Carousel. It may have been another song, but I believe it was Human Nature and Carousel. But Carousel is the name of the song. It's a the cut of that's been placed on the as a bonus track is very short. It's not really long. It kind of just gives you a taste. It talks about Michael. He's saying he lost his heart on the carousel. I'm not quite sure because it's so short. I'm not quite sure if it's he fell out of love or he broke up or if he lost his heart, meaning he found the one, like this person has his heart. And so, or if, like I said, there was a dumping or something, like she dumped him. But it's a very nice, beautiful ballad. I could understand that it's not as strong as Human Nature. So if they, but I'm shocked that they didn't throw this song on. I mean, if it were me, I would have been like, we're going to put Someone in the Dark and this song on it, just because. But, I understand. They wanted to make sure that they made maximize profit as well as set the appropriate mood for the album without throwing it off. Because Someone in the Dark, kind of, because it was more space sounding, because it was different, it could have thrown the listener off, of course. And Carousel as well was more like a jive song, more smooth, more relaxed. Whereas that's not what the feel of Thriller, you know, even the title of the album is called Thriller. And so having a song on Thriller called Carousel may not have meshed, may not have went over well. Of course, everybody would have loved it, but it probably would have confused critics as well as people who, enjoy Michael's music and listen to his albums. So they did leave Carousel off. Um, so now I want to thank you for following me along with the first two albums. I'll be back, with Bad, of course. The next a couple of albums are Bad and Dangerous. And I will continue on up into today with the albums that he had. But just going over those two albums, Off the Wall and Thriller, I mean, there's so much you can talk about. There's so much information out there. And just listening to those two albums, take time to listen to those two albums. Go back, reminisce if you remember hearing those albums. If you're new to Michael Jackson, which I would be, I mean, it happens, right? It happens. Go and listen to these albums. They are a staple. It's almost one of those things that some music should be taught in school. Some artists should be brought up because of how influential they were and how groundbreaking they were, and how they helped pave the way for a lot of artists today, and including, I know a lot of music videos aren't made today. Music videos, first it was just the songs, and then during the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, music videos really did help make the artist, really did put that visual concept behind the songs. And so nowadays we live in the digital age where music videos are not as common. They still are made, but artists really don't take time out to show their work and artistry in other ways. So I want to thank you very much for joining me today on going over those two albums. I am running out of time, so I'm just going to go ahead and stop here. Again, I will be back with more Michael Jackson music review. There's so much music to review, even going back over these two albums. There's so much that I missed that I just wanted to quickly go over. So I thank you very much for joining me in this Jamblast podcast over Michael Jackson music. And have a great morning, great day, great afternoon, great evening, and God bless.